Hello, welcome to the Julia Amante channel. If we're just meeting, I am Julia Amante and I am a women's fiction author. I've been talking about the frustrations that writers tend to have with the writing process. And what I am going to discuss today is being tired. Okay. One of the most frustrating things is that you're very excited. You wake up in the morning and you have to go to work and you're thinking, okay, I have this chapter to write. I'm so excited about this chapter. It's going to be a great chapter. And you think about it during the day, you go to work, you do the things you need to do. You get home super late, and then you might have things that you need to do at home. It might be cooking for your kids, or it might be, mowing the lawn or doing things you just have to do in your house, right? And then you finally sit down, whatever time it is, to write, and you're just exhausted. You're just sitting there going, I'm just so tired. I don't even think my brain can work. And what was I going to write again? And it doesn't even sound good. It sounds terrible, right? So the whole excitement, all that energy you had to create is gone. You have no creative energy left at all. And that is frustrating as writers, right? So when writers talk about this, when they talk about just being too tired to write, what they're upset about, or what they regret, I guess, is that all the other things that are in their life that are impacting their ability to sit down and write. And that's the frustrating part. So yeah, of course they're frustrated about being tired, but they're really more frustrated about the things that are keeping them from writing, so that when they do get they sit down to be able to write, they just don't have the energy to do it, or the passion left to do it. They're just drained. And that's the frustrating part. It's not the being tired, it's all the other things. The problem is, how do we get rid of all those other things? And the reality is that we're probably not, right, going to get rid of those things. Unless you're a full-time writer, you're lucky enough to be able to do that, then you probably have another job, and you need that other job because you have to pay your bills. And I've been there, I'm still there. So it's not something that's going to go away. We can't get rid of that. Well, we can't and don't want to get rid of our family, right? So we have those obligations. It's actually probably why we work and why we do things, because of our family. So we want to spend the time with them. So that's not negotiable. What else can we get rid of? There's just things that we can't get rid of. So what do you do as a writer? And what do most writers do? Because everybody faces this, right? So it's not just you. It's anybody who wants to write. They have to deal with everything else that's going on and still write. And even write when they're tired. Or even write when they don't have time. It's just something that we as writers have to deal with. So what do we do? Well, I'll tell you what I do, or what I did, or what I've done over time, right? So things that I've tried, things that have worked. I guess that's what I'm going to focus on, are the things that actually have worked. And I'm going to go over three things. Okay, the first thing is kind of, it's a physical, but I think it's also a mental thing to do, is to wash away that day. So come home, and if you have a pool, if you have a jacuzzi, go for a little swim. The swim actually does a couple of things. I'm not lucky enough to do that, but I have at times stopped at a gym to go swimming before I get home, and I'll talk about that in a little bit. But just a warm shower. Come home, if you don't have any of that available, you don't have a nice warm jacuzzi, just come home and take a nice warm shower and refresh yourself. And it almost feels like it's a new day, right? So you take your shower, you're refreshed again, and you're ready to start the day, which is your writing day. And it doesn't matter whether you work at night, and whatever your schedule might be, whenever you get back from your job and you're ready to start writing, or even if it's first thing in the morning, take that nice warm shower so that you feel refreshed and you're ready to begin the day. And that does work. It does work to refresh you. So a lot of times I'll do that, and I'll think, okay, well, at least this will give me an extra 30, I'll take a shower once, I'll write for 30 minutes, and then I'll just crash, go to bed. And then before I know it, I've written for 2 hours. Because once I get into the story, then the tiredness sort of starts to fade away. The second thing, and this is something that a long time ago, so when I started writing, I was teaching elementary school, And it was actually different. So I would teach for 3 months. It was a year-round school, so I would teach for 3 months, and then I would have 1 month off, and then we'd go back to teaching for 3 months and 1 month off. So it was this year-round system that I actually really enjoyed. I really liked it. So the off-track time when I was off for that month, I would write. I would write an entire novel. And then the 3 months that I was teaching, so I knew I wasn't going to have as much time to write, I would spend that time to edit, to go back and fix my novel, to do, to make it a better, to kind of rewrite it and make it better. And so during that time, though, I wasn't published yet, and there was no pressure. So when I would come home, it would be very relaxing. It would be just something fun that I was doing for myself. It was almost like a hobby, even though I did have the intention to publish, and become a professional writer. It wasn't that pressure of, if I never finished the book or if nobody ever saw it, it really didn't matter, because it was just me and the book, and it was relaxing and it was fun. As I did become published and it became more of a job, I had 2 jobs at that point. So I would work all day, and then I would come and try to write. And that's when I started feeling sort of that pressure and that exhaustion. So even though I was tired when I was teaching and not publishing professionally, I was still tired, but it was more of a relaxing thing. Well, now I had the pressure of, I have a deadline. I need to make sure that I do get this book done. So I work at school, then I come home and I have to write. And I have to do the other things that go along with the writing. So it's not just the writing, it's the business aspect of writing. It's the marketing. It's the making sure that I'm online and relating, and emailing, responding to emails from readers, and social media. It wasn't as huge as it is now. It was actually just kind of getting started. So it wasn't a big thing there, but there were other things. There were that the marketing aspect of writing. And so there was all this pressure and exhaustion. And at that point, I was going to yoga to kind of relax. And so I talked to the yoga instructor, and she did these private not classes, just more like coaching kind of thing. I thought, you know what, I'm gonna do one of these classes with her, just one of these coaching sessions, see what she recommends, because I really have lost my creativity. I feel like I'm just exhausted. I'm too tired. And by that time too, I had kids. So it was like, oh my God, I can't even keep going. I don't know what to do. So I had this session with her, and one of the things that she said was, she had me do this weird exercise where it felt like she said, pretend you're climbing a ladder. So you're like climbing your ladder, and you use your arms and your legs, and you're climbing and climbing and climbing. And you do this for like 10 minutes. And it felt ridiculous. And I thought, oh, this is really dumb. Why am I going to do this? But I thought, okay, well, I paid for her session. This was her recommendation, and I'm going to do it. So she said, come home from work and close the door to your office and do the stair climbing thing. So it's like, okay, I'm going to do that. So I tried it. And at first it was like kind of weird. And then I sat down to write, because I had to get the writing done. But I kept doing it. And I noticed that I did feel more creative. Plus I felt a little bit more energized. So why? Her reasoning was that the sort of the right-left movement helps to rebalance your brain, your left and right brain. So at work, I was teaching and stuff, yeah, there's some creativity there, but it's mostly, left brain thinking. So it's more analytical and just doing the things you have to do. And then you have to sort of come home and you have to switch everything to creativity. And when you make that, it's not so easy just to switch to that creative mode. And so she said with that sort of balancing the left and the right side of your body and your brain, it helps to move over to that creative side. And it did seem to work. It's like, okay, I sat down, and instead of just kind of like staring at my screen and just being tired and thinking, oh, how am I going to stay up for 2 more hours? I did feel more creative. It's like I would start writing and the ideas would start to flow. And I thought, well, that's interesting. So maybe it was the left brain, right brain thing, or maybe it was something else. Maybe it was the actual exercise, because when you are tired and you do some kind of physical activity, it actually does re-energize you. So You can try some kind of physical activity, whether it's the stair climbing thing or whether it's just going for a walk or going for that swim. So going for that swim that I talked about, if you're lucky enough to have a pool and you can go for a swim, not only does that refresh you with the water, but it also adds that physical activity that will help you to become more energized. And it gives you just a little burst of energy to get you, to allow you the ability to write. So that's the second thing, is just try to do something physical, whether it's a run, whether it's whatever it is that you like, to kind of energize you. The last thing is sort of a trick that I play on myself. So if you notice when you get home from work, what happens? You get home and you're thinking, oh, thank God this day's over, right? I'm so exhausted. I'm so tired of the office or whatever, right? Oh, thank God I'm home. And your body just kind of relaxes, right? And your mind starts to enter that I'm home mode. I'm home. I'm going to relax. I'm going to have some dinner. I'm going to just unwind. And that's what you don't want to do. Okay. You want to avoid that. So my third suggestion is don't come home, which sounds kind of funny, right? Don't come home. But I did do that a few times, or I came home and I left. Okay. So the not coming home is just leave your office, go to Starbucks. My favorite two places were Starbucks and Panera Bread. I liked Panera Bread because Starbucks sometimes tends to be a little small, little conversations. Panera Bread I loved because you could get your own little booth, get your cup of coffee or your water or whatever it is you want to have, and you can sit there with your computer and actually get some work done. So leave work and go somewhere else other than your house where you're feeling like the day's over. It actually tricks your brain into the day is not over. So I can't actually stop. I can't be tired because I'm still at work. Okay. Or come home if you have to, do whatever you have to do, change your clothes and then leave again. That leaving of your home, where home is supposed to be relaxing and pleasant, right? But since you're somewhere else, and also the energy of other people, like I would notice that in these coffee shops, there was all the energy, right? The energy of other people at Panera or whatever, where people are talking and people are doing things. And so because I'm in that more of an energetic place, I feel more energized as well. So again, it's sort of a mind trick in a way that you are not allowed to be tired yet because you're not yet home. And then once you do that, like once you finish whatever it is you want to write, whether it's a scene or a chapter or whatever, or a poem or whatever you're writing, once you're finished with that, then you come home and you have no obligations once you get home because you're finished. So then you can come home, relax, have that dinner, have that glass of wine, go to sleep, whatever it is you want to do, because then you have accomplished your goal. You've gone to work, you've done your writing, you're finished. Okay. So those are the kind of things that I would do, or the three best things that I tried. Tried a lot of things, but those were the most effective for me. And maybe they will be for you as well. So it is hard. It is hard to be tired and write, but I think if you try a few things and you just keep pushing forward and just tell yourself, every writer has to do this. Every writer's tired, but they push forward anyways, because at the end they do have that book that they get to hold in their hands, and you will too if you just kind of you get through some of these hard tiring times. So I hope you liked this or are liking this series. Please join me tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to talk about the last frustration of being a writer, which is the editing and revision process, which can be very frustrating for some writers. So join me tomorrow. We'll talk about that. And if you're enjoying this series and this channel, please hit the like button at the bottom, and I will see you tomorrow.